To start off today's podcast episode, Boston OKC last night. OKC wins 118 to 112. OKC with no Jalen Williams. The Celtics with no Kristaps Porzingis. Oklahoma City, 35 free throws attempted. Boston only 12. Boston with the third most three-point attempts ever with 63 total threes. Only at a 32% clip. Some takeaways from the game. Oklahoma City just swarming defense. To start out the game, coming into it, it was a primetime game and Oklahoma City came to play. They just have so many bodies to throw at. Tatum and Brown. JT did his thing. Him and SGA were going at it all night. SGA was getting some questionable calls, but he is the free throw merchant, as they say. But, I mean, consistently, Oklahoma City was just putting Boston in situations where Boston wasn't getting the shots that they wanted. It seemed every attempt in the first quarter, Boston was just settling for threes, and they were hitting some, but not as many as they normally do. And I think looking at the Thunder, the way that they held Jaylen Brown in 38 minutes, they held him to 10 points on 33% shooting. He eventually fouled out of the game. And I think Boston, obviously it's a long ways from the potential finals matchup that this could be, but I think they definitely need to watch some tape and get a game plan going for a potential finals matchup, because Oklahoma City was throwing different coverages at Tatum and they were running some zone. They were sending double teams. Obviously Tatum did his thing, 34 points, but it's a tough matchup for the Celtics. It's probably one of the toughest matchups, if not the toughest, along with the Cavaliers. And as of right now, Oklahoma City, obviously, best team in the league. I have the Cavs and Celtics right there. I think, obviously, Boston has the experience, but I think Cleveland is right there. And obviously, those three teams, I think, are just a tier above everybody right now in the league. Chet was terrific, especially with Hartenstein. In the broadcast, Doris Burke was mentioning how them as a two-man tandem, like obviously with Chet only having played 21 games this season, he's hasn't been able to develop the chemistry quite as much with Hartenstein, but I liked what I saw out of it. It's a good two-man game. Obviously Hartenstein's a bruiser and Chet's more of a finesse player, but I mean him and SGA, obviously when they get J-Dub back, it's a scary squad, and I think that would be a terrific finals matchup. Obviously, Oklahoma City, a small market team versus Boston. Obviously, you love them if you're a Boston fan, but everybody absolutely despises the Celtics, and I think that would be a really good matchup. Obviously, the Celtics need to make it there. They got to get past Cleveland, most likely. They got to get past Milwaukee. But yeah, from what I saw, Oklahoma City, they will have the MVP winner in SGA. He's a heavy favorite over Jokic. Even though Jokic is having one of the best seasons in terms of PER, he's going to be the third player ever to average a triple-double for a season. But OKC is tough, man. If they win out, they'll hit that 70-game mark. Not completely unlikely, but I mean, I don't really think that's one of their goals to hit that 70-win mark. SGA will be the first guard to win the MVP since James Harden in the 2017-18 season. It's been dominated by bigs, Giannis and Jokic and Embiid, gone back and forth winning. But OKC is tough, and this is an eye-opener to everybody that they're here. They're the youngest team in the NBA, so we'll see come playoff time. what will happen. Obviously, we saw last year Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves were able to close it out against them, but we'll see what happens. Celtics, obviously, they're getting back in the swing of things. They've had a couple injuries. Drew Holiday was injured a little bit ago, and obviously Porzingis is dealing with unknown illness as we speak. It'll be an interesting finish to the season, and obviously in the playoffs, I would love a Thunder-Boston matchup. Moving on to March Madness. March is here, and this is conference tournament week as we speak. I'm recording this around 4 o'clock on Thursday. North Carolina just beat Wake Forest a little bit ago. Cooper Flagg was injured in the quarterfinal against Georgia Tech, or maybe it was the second round game. But he was injured, sprained his ankle. So we'll have Duke, North Carolina matching up tomorrow. Tonight we have KU against Arizona. Obviously, you know who I'm rooting for. Earlier this week, St. Francis punched their ticket to the NCAA tournament with a 17-16 record. They are the 20th team to make the NCAA tournament with below a 500 record. Of those 20 teams, none of them have won. So obviously we'll see if St. Francis can break that streak. Coming out of the Big East, I like St. John's. I like what I've seen from them. I think obviously Rick Pitino, with his illustrious history, he'll be a major character in this tournament. Whether they go deep in the tournament or only last a couple rounds, he'll definitely be a big tournament. This weekend, a lot of games coming up. Obviously, we'll know who's in those games as the rest of the tournaments unfold. But Saturday, we have some of the big marquee tournaments: Mountain West, Big 12, Big East, MAC, ACC, Big West, the WAC. And then Selection Sunday, we have some pretty big matchups as well. The Big 10 Championship, the American, the Atlantic 10, SEC. 1 week away, folks. 1 week away from the madness starting. I cannot wait. I've loved watching these conference championships unfold. There's been some nail-biters. We saw UCF and KU go to overtime. We've seen a bunch of game winners. We saw a lot of great action this past weekend. I'm sure this weekend we'll have many unbelievable finishes. There is so much talent in this NCAA tournament, and in the last couple of years we've seen with the transfer portal and the talent gap closing in college sports in terms of these players can get offers from smaller universities, and we've seen major upsets. It'll be interesting trying to pick which ones will happen in this tournament. I can't wait. We will have content coming for you on this channel. So stay tuned, hit that subscribe button, share with a friend, and we will see you next time.